Yes, and Twitch. We had a bit war yesterday, but it's all for naught because it is Monday again. So we're going to have to restart it all over again. The Micro Panda. Hello, I'm upside down. I look like a ghost. No, those are eyebrows. Alright. And Macro Panda is here as well. These guys are filling in for normal Panda. Hello, I'm just a scrub. We had a request for pandas, so there they are. It's gonna be a shorter stream today, guys. I have I like the panda up there from Acerbate, the blindfolded panda. Looks like is that a panda? Panda. I have a shorter stream today, guys. Just an hour and 45 minutes, I think, rather than the normal 2.5. Got an important video I have to record tonight and other good stuff. So I've been kind of busy, but I'm not gonna let the stream go to waste. 7+3 challenges. We're accepting anything between 5+3 through 7+3 as usual here. We're going to get right to work playing Acerbate, opening with E4. Yeah, sorry for the late start, but I have a major life change going on with moving back to the United States and kind of having to stay here for most likely longer than I had anticipated. A lot of stuff going on with my personal life, so please accept my apologies for any kind of late starts and whatnot. Let's play an open Sicilian here against Acerbate. I believe I played a Rossalimo perhaps against him in the recent past, but we really ought to challenge him in the open Sicilian. I've been trying to encourage him to play, correctly on the black side of this. If you guys like to play, please challenge me between 5+3 and 7+3. I know how to play the dragon. Wait, I know how to play the dragon? Acerbate now, you're not supposed to play that move. I looked at this very recently. What was the deal with bishop b4 here? Oh, I remember now. So there's a funny line. If I take here on c6, this is funny, like taking on c6. I'm not a big believer in this, but there's a tactical motif behind this. Now, Acerbate exchanged on c3. I think the best line for black is actually, well, I'm not sure about d takes c, but you can play b takes c, queen d4, and like bishop back to f8. I'm not sure if I really want to go there. JCS, welcome. Nefidov, welcome. I'm not sure about my play on the white side of the dragon. It's a little bit prehistoric. So bishop takes c3, I think, okay. Maybe not a bad move. Maybe knight c6 is not that good. But I think now we have very concrete weaknesses on the dark squares that we can work on. He ought to consider taking with the d pawn there, I think, as well. Consequently, you want to just do this straight away? It's an idea, right? Like many ideas. Darn, what are we doing here? The direct approach. I don't know, though. This seems a little one-dimensional for white. Mr. Coffee, what's up? Thank you for the support. Lots of bit donations yesterday. My thoughts on the World Series. Yes, I'm very surprised there was an article in like Major League Baseball website today by this guy I've never really liked. It's a sports writer named Castro Vince. And I don't know, I think he just hates the Red Sox or something, because he wrote this article where he says like in almost 7 out of 11 positions the Dodgers are better than the Red Sox. I thought he's basically smoking crack, I think that probably the Red Sox are a slight favorite, and this guy is like writing this article saying the Dodgers are a favorite. But it's going to be great. It's going to be a really good World Series. I think they're fairly close, but I think the Red Sox have to be the favorite overall. Now, knight h4. If I play h4, he can take this. The Panda approach. You can actually just take that pawn. Very disturbing. H4, World Series of Poker. No. Talking about baseball here. How do I put Asterbate out of his misery here? H4, I really want H4 to work, but I don't see how it's going to work. Funny, he can keep everything like protected. So I think I just have to make some kind of routine move now. We'll just play for like a small lasting advantage. He can't castle. Maybe he ought to play Queen E7, actually trade queens. And then I was thinking I'm just better in this endgame. Right, I mean, it seems like the Dodgers barely beat Milwaukee. I mean, and that's like not, that big a deal. I definitely agree. I think the Astros were a much, much better team than the Dodgers. So there's just no way in the world you could possibly say that the Dodgers are a favorite over the Red Sox. It's a very strange concept. Dim, what's up? We've got Dim with the Cheer 1000 badge now after yesterday, I guess. I think, speaking of American sports, baseball World Series coming up. Yeah, I think it's clear that the Red Sox are a favorite. All right, G3. Masturbate getting cagey with Queen G5. But I can't checkmate him with just these two pieces alone without his help. We need help. Who said that in their finger notes? Maybe Mr. Coffee? Can't win without your help. Was that you, Mr. Coffee? It's funny. I only know one Alanis Morissette song, which is kind of ironic. It's funny that you said that, Percy Hepworth, because I was at this like thrift store the other day, and I picked up like 3 CDs for like $1 each. Usually, like in thrift stores, there's nothing remotely cool. It's like songs from the 60s or something. But I found an Alanis Morissette CD, and I figured, okay, it's $1. I'm not really into Alanis Morissette, but anything that's like relatively good, I'm not gonna like turn it down for like $1. So I got an Alanis CD for $1. Okay, E4 is hanging here. Interesting line. More complicated than I'd like it to be. Yeah, but if Queen takes E4, I have F3, it looks like. Is that one of her songs? I can't win without your help. So he played Queen takes E4. Now the last question would be F3. I wanted to sack my rook, but unfortunately Queen takes check. I don't think it works. Like HG, Queen takes check, King D2, Queen D5 check, and he trades queens. So we have to play this move. Hopefully I didn't miss anything here. Yeah, the problem with this is that he's dropping the mate. The eliminator of defense. Once again, Asabe plays too quickly. It seems to be his biggest problem. So now he's down a piece, and we're threatening rook takes h7, and we're threatening mate. So he just simply cannot protect against all those factors. Rook g8, only move. And now, you're looking for like a beauty. Yeah, he found it. The only move. Oh, there's just no way to finish him off. It's ridiculous. No way. I want to play like rook takes g7 so badly, but it just doesn't work. Div, thank you. 140 for the beginning of the week. Thank you so much, guys. This stream is in an unusual time. I'm not normally doing streams Mondays at this time. But you guys have to be flexible with me. Rook g7 looks tasty, but he has rook takes g7. It worked. Oh my god. I feel so stupid. I forgot I had queen f8 mate. I mean, how often do you have queen f8 mate? So, Percy Hepworth's right. I had it. I had rook takes g7. Oh my god, it's so bad. I forgot I have this mate here. That's sick. And I missed it. I should have to resign for that. Now he can castle queenside. I still have it though. It's just not as satisfying now. Now he can play castles. Castles queenside. There it is. I let him off the hook. I feel so stupid for this. I don't know what the best move is now. I'm all discombobulated. I can't believe I talked about rook g7 and didn't see queen f8 mate. Ah, oh, that's so painful. I mean, now if I take on g6, I'm at f7, I'm setting myself up for danger too. Right, I mean, I'm protecting here at least. We can get the direct threats on the 7th, it looks like. I don't think he can defend. My king is surprisingly safe here. I looked at the same simul games from yesterday. Guys, we had the simul stream yesterday. Again, Dim, thank you for the 140 donation. Simply settling down and stop refusing to play boring and obvious stabilizing moves. I think it doesn't hurt Arsenal. I think one of the things that you have to accept is that not all games are going to be like exciting brilliancies, you know? I make this joke all the time that 99% of tactics don't work, but you can't play for the gallery every game. I mean, that's like a chess personality disorder. People who like expect to play brilliancy games and, you know, have like beautiful combinations every single game. This is not, it's not realistic. But it depends on what you want to get out of chess. I realize that most of the people here, of course, are amateurs and have no intention to become grandmasters, but some of us might still become grandmasters. Myself, Mr. Coffee, Bob, Nefedov. I mean, we all have, an Arsenal fan, we all have aspirations. But I think you're onto something there, Arsenal fan. Just, yeah. And a lot of people do just that, Arsenal. Like, that's basically all they do is play ordinary moves. And that can also be kind of lame in its own way as well. Man, Astrobate here being a nuisance, like just absolute nuisance in this position. It's really frustrating. I cannot break through. He's cutting off the defense of g3. Alright, dude. Let's just be boring. Absolutely. This is kind of what Arsenal fans talking about, essentially. Just went up bishop c5, but well, I didn't think there was a defense to d7, to be perfectly honest. You know, I missed that he could play e5. I thought it was just over either way. And now it's going to be over very soon. Rook takes. It's a strange decision to play that move, but it'll do. It'll do. It's kind of a strange decision to play rook takes d7. Proceed up with 1-0 to the key. To Arsenal, the key to the title was the boring and obvious stabilizing defenses. It's different for everyone. We can't all play like Magnus. I have a great idea here. We're going to finish him off with the subtle bishop c1. Protecting against rook d2. He's going to have threats again. Oh my god. It's almost mate. Good job not giving up, Asterbate. I could mate myself here, but this was not the best resource. You had rook c5 with the threat of rook c2 and rook d1, so a conceivable way of setting up mate. But I think here you're now finished. Finally. Well, I think Arsenal, like your game that you lost yesterday against me, from my perspective, had a lot to do with the queen maneuver, queen a5, queen h5, and understanding that your queen, another defense. Stop finding defensive moves, man. You're killing me here. He hangs on even further. So I think the key there is, appreciating that, you're basically not coordinating. Your queen is cut off from the rest of the forces outside the position, essentially. This is an increment, so if it was 40 seconds, I would be concerned, but that would still be enough to get it done. Chess is so cool, says ChessFun27. All right, let's go on to the next game, guys. I'm going to stream for an hour and 45 minutes today. It's a little bit shorter than usual, but I have an important video I have to make for chesslecture.com, and I need some time to make sure I can adequately prepare for that. So I'm out of here. I'm out of here at 6:15. All right, but normally we will try to stick to the morning streams Monday, Wednesday, Friday, afternoon streams Tuesday, Thursday, and Sunday. We will have to sometimes make exceptions. Can't be quite as. Let's not get distracted. Nefedov is really good. When am I going to play against him? Something different that I'm not playing too much lately. Got to throw Nefedov off here. I like how I wasn't mentioned. You were mentioned last. You were mentioned last. I didn't leave you out, Arsenal fan. I mentioned Bob as a subtle jab. Man, you can perceive everything however you want to perceive. Bob's angry that I mentioned him. Arsenal's angry that I didn't mention them. Mentioned him last. So I guess we haven't played this in a while. I had a game with Zoltan Hainal. I guess 2 years ago. God, the time goes so fast. It seems like it was just yesterday. A quick draw in this variation. You barely like the game at all. That's why you're here. Alright. There's probably some room for new ideas in this type of line. A masochist. And a positive one at that. I just want to mention that tomorrow night we're going to have a blitz arena 5+2. That will be at the same time 4:30 EDT, Eastern Daylight Time. Thank you, Dim, for the donation to get the stream bits started for this week. 140 bits from Dim. Yesterday we had a lot of support from the viewers, so I want to thank you guys for that. Alright, so Bishop C4. I have an interesting idea here. I'm not sure if I came up with this. We'll see what Nefedov does here. Nefedov has the ridiculously solid repertoire. I don't want to trade pieces when I have more space, so we're gonna go out on a limb here. Oh, I dropped a pawn. Oh my god, I'm so stupid. How could I do that? He just snapped it off, like, without even thinking. Master of materialism. Wow. Is that like home analysis, Nefedov? Just instantly took the pawn. Like, I just gave him a piece of candy. Man, that's crazy, dude. You didn't even think about it twice. C5, knight takes C5, F4. And what play did black have? What are we talking about? Yesterday's game? Or here? If I play C5, he's going to break with E5. If I have to play if I could play C5 and F4, there's a question that the position might become too blocked up. So Nefedov just like counting material. I wonder, I could have taken, let's see, very materialistic approach by black. I would say exceptionally materialistic. Cue up the Madonna song, right? Nefedov is living in the material world. But I'm not living in that material world. I mean, that's a little bit too materialistic for me. Knight b4. We have to consider castling. I like my king in the endgame here. But by the same token advantages. Amazing how quick he is too. Now what? Rook d1. Kind of like this move. Rather than taking and bringing his knight to maybe a good position, we'll take with the rook. Man, can't explain Nefedov with the Nefedov rating. He's 1921 in rapid, but he's 1400. There's some good 1400s I play on here sometimes, I will tell you. It seems ridiculous. That's such a low rating. It's 1,000 points lower than me. But particularly in blitz, you see people who are 1400 and really, really good. Yeah, it's a good thing I missed that move. Now we have to get tactical. No. No, I never take draws against Nefedov in blitz. Unless I have a totally lost position. You should play king e7. That's the most interesting because actually it's not a ridiculous move. Hopefully we get him in time pressure. Yeah, maybe I'm not sure about rook d1. I hate, it's just me being principled. I like developing moves. But Richie's right about knight e4. It's an awesome square for a piece. Bronstein talks about this one game in 200 Open Games. How the bias toward not trading queens is so strong amongst a lot of players. Because they think, a lot of beginners think you can't attack when the queens are traded, so they become obsessed with not trading queens when, let's say, they're down material or something like that. But that's not true. I mean, so many games I've won in my career, attacking with the queens off the board. Say just rooks, minor pieces like this. very possible to get a very strong attack without queens on the board. Alright, my chair is not an ideal. Not ideal positioned. Got some back pain. One of my streams wouldn't be complete without some complaints about my health or something like that. Alright, what do we got for viewers? 29, what's up? Are you watching King Crusher? Seriously? That's sad. I mean, he's great, but you couldn't prefer him to me. Alright, 94. I agree with you. Refusal to trade queens got me in trouble too many times. My allergies. I just found out I'm allergic to alcohol. I'm just kidding. Knight C2. Where are you going, man? Where are you going? You see, there's no future to that idea. Unfortunately, I have to move my rook off the A file. Okay. I could have played rook A2, but it's a stupid square. We'll just have to put our rook on B1, but your knight is in a silly place too. And I feel I was burning the clock here. We got very nasty threats of invading along, you know, knight G5, knight E6 lines, or maybe also knight G5, knight F7. If you put this on an engine, it's probably going to say, I have compensation for for the pawn, but computer might agree that Nefedov has reasonable chances here. Yeah, I don't know what I'm thinking about here. I'm just talking about the reasoning and the square. I mean, knight G5 is great. Access to that square will make life a little tricky for black. Now Nefedov just basically up to screwed. So he's losing his knight. He put his knight there. Now I have to put it on E1. Knight on E1. Just the only place to go. Threatening knight takes G2. Unfortunately, I only get 2 pieces for the rook or something. He just blundered. I think. You had to play knight E1 there. It doesn't look good. Adds a token to coffee card. The coffee card. Alright, Nefedov is resigning here. Alright, he's a tough customer. Sladgie fan, this is a new account. Like, okay, dude. You know I don't play people who have less than 100 games. What's his one game? Oh, he's got multiple games. 2 wins, 2 losses. Only 1 rated game. Do I have to play this guy just because he's named Sladgie fan? Normally I don't accept people who have less than... It's like a tribute account. Alright. So it's you, Bob. Okay. I have to play the fans. Alright, we're trying to play E45. I am just taking subscribers in order today. Got Arsenal fan. He's an honorary former subscriber. Artie Fufkin is a subscriber. Rob Bartom's been coming on here sometimes. Played him a couple times. I will take the subscribers first. So the Petrov, please don't play Queen E2. I had to prepare for, I mean, knight takes E5, D6, knight F3, knight takes E4, Queen E2. I had to prepare for Nefedov. I embarrassingly had to study up on my Queen E2 Petrov to the last after the last I'm stuck. I forgot what I was talking about. That's the problem with multitasking. Okay, d3, quiet move, kind of passive, but basically this is a Roy Lopez with colors reversed. What's wrong with that, right? Nefedov, I mean, it's very risky for Nefedov to play the way he played, allowing knight takes e6. I would just play like knight d3, bishop f5. Why does he have to get into an irrational situation there? He could have just simply made some solid moves. Well, I mean, not just for Nefedov. I mean, I really ought to know what I'm doing in this line, because the thing is, Queen e2 against the Petrov is a variation that was always like just totally dismissed by most people. You know, nobody plays that with white unless they're like essentially playing for a draw. So you typically only get weak players. Did I make a mistake? I did. Well, Sladgie fan's like a genius. Alright. Alright, sir. You're a genius. I admit it. He's gonna get my bishop. The only downside of white's position, it's a minor thing, but his bishop's on d2. Probably you'd rather have it on b2 with this extended fianchetto sort of formation. But I do feel like I've been tricked. There could be some problems with what? No, I don't see anything special. Knight g4 is not really good. Let's see, he makes a bad move here. So essentially after d3, what am I supposed to do? That's weird. I mean, there's nothing wrong with like an active move. Let's say d5. I wanted to play something solid. He's going to grab my bishop now, justifying this funky position for white to some degree. Yeah, you get my bishop pair. Alright. So what do? We really want to play f5, but no good way to do it. Alright, what else can we do? Just want to play f5, but how to do it? c5. What do I do, Bob? You tricked me. Twicked me. No draws, Nefedov. I don't know, I feel like I'm playing like the two knights defense. It's actually what, the 3 knights game? Kind of a rare opening. Black is down a tempo because of the lack of c6. That's an interesting perception, but that's weird. Oh, you mean, okay, yeah, I understand what you're saying now, Arsenal. Yeah, I'm down a tempo on the Roy Lopez. Exactly. I wasn't sure what the best way to play the position was. I think that black is okay here, you know. Objectively close to equal, maybe equal. But a purist would say, oh, you made a mistake losing your bishop pair. And maybe they're right, you know. But at the same time, Bob has a weakness on the queen side. He's played his bishop to d2 when it really kind of belongs over here on b2, guarding those extended pawns and maybe ideally, you know, getting some play on the long diagonal someday. So he doesn't have an ideal position. His bishop pair isn't exactly like great. I was thinking maybe a c5 type of thing, just to get a good control of the center. Not much of a plan, though. My plan really would be to play f5, like a closed Sicilian. But my knight's in the way. And I'm not afraid to play knight e8. But, you know, it is an undeveloping move. Hard to see how the d4 break. Yeah, there ain't no d4 break. Not for a while, anyway. So his bishops aren't exactly raking the board with open lines. You know, it's a typical closed position where, yeah, I mean, I think I like the knights in a closed position. This is certainly not my only move, and it may not even be the best, but it's a move. It's a blitz game, essentially. It's called rapid, but 7+3 is quite fast. So guys, I'm going to be streaming for another hour. It's a shorter stream today. Tomorrow we're going to be back with our normal Tuesday tournament stream. Arena Blitz 5+2 Tuesday night. It'll be 4:30 EDT. Just want to get all my pieces to quality locations. Nefedov, you play in Preston, says Dim. Nefedov, I was supposed to play in Preston too, but I had to cancel. What's the best approach here? We go Rubinstein. This is ambitious. This is ambitious. I'm using the Akiba maneuver. I mean, I was thinking about this when I played Queen E7, to be honest with you guys. But White also has tricks like sometimes Knight H4. I want to keep it locked, keep a closed position so those two bishops don't get out of control. Our bishop is a good bishop. It's not obstructed by pawns. This is an interesting move, but we have to calculate. Knight takes e4, d takes e4, queen takes h4, queen takes d6, queen takes e4, queen takes e5, queen takes g2, bishop f3. Is that enough for you guys? Should we keep going on this line? There's another move here that's quite interesting, which would be knight to d5. We could play like in a sort of positional way. Knight takes e4, d takes e4, queen takes h4, queen takes d6. Queen takes e4, queen takes e5, threatening mate on g7. Now sometimes you miss one move in this kind of long variation. I just want to make sure I'm not missing anything. Queen takes e5. And I said queen takes g2, which makes sense, right? Attacking his rook. Man, I don't know. Bishop f3 there. And then I could look at the position and count the material, but my structure is kind of weird. Queen g6 or something. I don't trust that. Let's just play something simple. This may be a mistake because I'm actually robbing my knight of a good square here. So that variation with knight takes e4 is still unclear to me. The knight can get out on f7. I'm going to have to do a Spassky knight thing. So Arsenal said knight d5 is worth consideration. Wow. Good call, Nefedov. I mean, Arsenal fan, sorry. Your best friend just became a member there recently. Oh, wow. So we got a whole team of players from the UK. I'm sorry I can't go. I also wanted to go to the National Chess Congress here. But it's like Thanksgiving Day weekend, and a kind of a travel nightmare. I tentatively pulled out of that too. Because I've got to take care of my mom. Though my mom isn't terminally ill. Alright, queen takes h4. She just needs some help. Unfortunately, this knight, yeah, knight not good. We got to get it out through f7. Alright. I assumed like Dim somehow knew Nefedov. That's weird. So they actually have friends from the same chess club. I'm just taking people out on the clock here. 48 viewers. Good job, guys. Let's keep it up. It's a good time. It's interesting the way Arsenal talks about the position in terms of playing f5. For me, well, you've got to consider different factors when you're talking about something like f5. First of all, it does block the bishop on c8. Not a lot of tactics here, okay? I see that. G3 and F4 for white. The white king is not that safe. Okay, first off, let's get a little bit of a tempo gain. Actually, this might just win material. I just realized. If we're really materialistic, we have the swinging over with the queen. Arsenal fan with the funky queen maneuver yesterday. This is a slightly different position. My queen is not easy to attack on A4. There may be some questions about coordination, much like Arsenal's game yesterday. Yeah, I mean, if I play F5, I want to play F4. And that's typical for any kind of Grand Prix attack type of structure like this, or closed Sicilian type of structure. See, I was expecting Bob to, or any good player to play, really, G3. Ultimately, he'd like to play F4, but he has to think about his king position. Here, I'm not sure now. I mean, Queen A4 just wins material, but is it worth it? Spassky himself would play F6 without a second thought. Not in this position, obviously. We can play Queen H3. He can't castle queenside, and he can't castle kingside. So Bob's biggest problem here is essentially his king position and failure to be able to coordinate the rooks. Also, those bishops aren't doing much in this closed structure. It's an interesting discussion, this game. If I play Queen A4, I'm not going to play Queen takes B5 and let the guy go like D4, ripping open the position. So if I play Queen A4, I'm basically committed to playing like Bishop takes B5. It's a lot of liability. I'm getting in a really weird offside type of position. So let's just play something else. I mean, this is hanging. Now he can play A4 though. There's other problems, though. Look how many unprotected things there are in white's position. Unprotected, unprotected, unprotected. Unprotected pawns. Failure to protect your king is punishable by mate. Absolutely. And, my friend used to teach... I have a friend who's a master who used to teach according to the principles of Lasker's Manual of Chess. And you could probably do far worse than that. He had the saying, kids out, papa home, which means you develop your pieces and you keep the papa, the king, at home. I mean, this is basically a good general philosophy. So now F6 was mentioned. Ironclad. This just stymies his whole dark squared bishop. Like, what are you going to do with your extra dark squared bishop against a pawn structure like that? It's like Fort Knox, literally. Now he has defense. I don't believe it. So I just have to take this pawn, I think. We're going to bite the bullet. Go pawn grabbing. He gets a little bit of play along the file, the G file here. I don't think I played this optimally. Let's get back. Really a good job by Bob to stay in the game at all from a difficult position. He's still alive. He's found the maximum what his bishops can do. I mean, with this type of position, I think he's done pretty well. He's done as well as he can with those bishops. I'm a little bit worried, actually. He's got some threats here. I think I'm messing this up. I mean, he had maybe rook b1 there. It's offering a draw. And what did I say about dark square pawns? All of our pawns on dark squares. Now, wait a minute. I have knight f5. Go for material. I think he had a lot of chances on and off in this game. Really, it's not a bad game from Bob there. Defining factor was really time. So, interesting. I wonder if this has ever actually happened in an over-the-board game. It was a tricky, like, I don't want to turn on the engine here, but I do want to see the opening explorer. I don't want to bombard the stream with slowness. Has this ever been played? Like, obviously this has probably been reached, but D3. Dude, wait a minute. Whoa. Something's giving knight C3 a dubious? Like, what? What local browser is analyzing knight C3 dubious? Bishop E4 D3. That's kind of a sneaky move, you know, and I wasn't even thinking, and I played D6. So D5 is like the aggressive move here, but I thought since I'm black, I better tone it down. D6. And oddly enough, no one did what he did with Bishop D2. It's a reverse Steinitz. I don't really understand why nobody would play Bishop D2. And he's essentially threatening what he did in the game, which was to play A3 and B4 knight A4. So I should have, as someone mentioned, probably play like C6, Bishop A5, and bring it back. All right. I'm gonna take Arsenal. Make sure we get Artie Fufkin. He's a subscriber. Guys, please support the stream and subscribe to the stream if you can afford it. Please support the stream. I'm going to be streaming 6 days a week. Today we've got to leave a little early at 6:15. Tomorrow we'll have a full 2.5 hour stream. You just lost like 50 games back to back on my other account. Going to stand a look at my 1500 rating. All right, I'm going to transpose back to the Sicilian here. I'm bored with knight f3. Trying to cut back on that, but my instincts sometimes get the better of me. So Arsenal playing... Oh, so you're going to play a Sveshnikov? Okay. It's a good system. It's a lot to learn, I think. Percy Hepworth, thank you for donating 102 bits. He also made a small donation last week. Thank you consistently for supporting the stream, Percy. So here now, well, I guess I'll just play what I know. There's other lines you can play besides Bishop G5. You can play A4, Knight D5. Losing streak longest 76 games. Oh my god. So I don't know. There's really two lines you can play here. Bishop takes F6 or Knight to D5. I consider this to be more of a positional line. There is Queen A5 check, by the way. It's a famous draw variation. Of course, white isn't obligated to take a draw. This is kind of a main line in what I typically play with white. Though I have really only one tournament game with a strong player in the Sveshnikov, I think. Since I don't play E4 that often, the only game I ever played a Grandmaster with white was like Dejan Antic. I think that was a draw. So, there are other moves. Like Antic against me, I think, played Rook B8 at some point. I can't remember the exact moment to play Rook B8. Bishop E6 certainly has to be a normal move. I wonder if A4 is a good move here. You know, is that like main line? You know, does Rook B8 discourage A4? I don't know the theory well enough here. Beyond this point, you know. And there's so many different moves that you can play. Knight E7. Leko used to play the Sveshnikov. I think the Sveshnikov And the Najdorf are really black's best systems. Jim says 9 is a routine for me. 9 losing. Bob donated 10 bits with a robot. In my country, 10 bits is the average daily wage. Alright. Is it normal for a cat to violently bite their claws? I don't know about biting them. The Sveshnikov used to play the Sveshnikov. What do you think? The question of the day. He's also played other variants like the Kalashnikov. So-called Kalashnikov. Who is Kalashnikov? Is that a chess player? I know there was a Russian named chess player named Kalashnikov, like in Spain or something, but I'm not sure that it was like the opening was named after the player or the weapon. So this is a Sveshnikov. We targeted the b5 pawn. My instinct here is that black is in trouble. There's very quick pressure with the pieces on the white squares. I'm not sure about bishop e6, but it's been a long time since I really studied. Yeah, the lioness who killed her mate. Yeah, that's like a good advertisement for the Me Too movement. Rook a6. Spousal abuse. I'm sure there's all kinds of memes about that kind of stuff. But I mean, these things happen with animals, you know. I mean, it's not like this is the first time. If they're like protecting their young or whatever, I don't know. Did you tell this chat how what? Burt Rat booted you from the stream? Fish Rat Cow. Well, I've come close to booting Bob from the stream, but he knows his limits. He normally doesn't do anything too bad. I think if you were really, really high strung, you might be tempted to kick Bob out of your stream. It's a silly question. It's like, did Blumenfeld ever play the Blumenfeld Gambit? Where's the proof? Well, that's what I was talking about you earlier, Nefrov. You know, I need like a, you know, I need a Russian chess researcher to find out if Blumenfeld ever played the Blumenfeld. You need like a Russian chess historian or something. But Sveshnikov you can look up very easily. So we got the tactic, cheaptactics.com. 87 is a very typical idea. I didn't calculate this very far. We have some sort of funny variations here, though. He's not laughing. Pick up his queen here. I'm a little concerned about this, but I probably shouldn't be. He doesn't have rook d8. Actually, Arsenal, I was looking at like gf and thinking, okay, queen takes d6. Rook d8, but you get in trouble there as well. We can check after the game, but I suspect bishop e6 was early. My queen seems like it's a little precariously placed here. I also want to get my king out of the center. He has only a rook and knight, a rook and bishop, I should say, and rook and bishop for queen and pawn. I don't know who this person is you guys are talking about. Sounds like a nice guy. I try not to insult the viewers too much. Is my queen trapped yet? Man, getting a little dodgy there. He actually had bishop e7 earlier. I was a little scared of that. Leave me alone. Now Arsenal's starting to play well. He just needs a little provocation. Oh, the guy's like American? Well, that's the problem. I'm half American and I'm half European. I'm just kidding. There's nothing wrong with Americans. But there's something to an American who's lived outside of America, you know, realize there's more to the world than just the United States. All right, Arsenal fan, you're really creating a lot of threats here, and it's starting to piss me off. It's a Canadian streamer who's trying to hang with the best of them, I suppose. Oh. Alright. You can't be a streamer and be overly sensitive. I learned my lesson very early. I was getting trolled and overreacting. Bishop c5. Wow, how does that work? It doesn't. We'll just trade stuff. We're finally going to castle. Kept Arsenal fan at bay here. Self-loathing American. I mean, you know, I go around in Hungary and I'm embarrassed by American tourists a lot of the time. Yeah, I'm like a person who realizes their faults, let's say. Nothing more embarrassing than the tourists from your own country who embarrass you. You're like, oh, you have to hide the fact that you're, hide the fact that you're American. Like, oh, I can't believe how loud those people are talking on the bus or something like that with really, really embarrassing accents and stuff. Is the kind of guy you hope locked in a wife early on. Yeah. Locked her in, like, literally would be the only way. Alright. Do we have any kind of threats here? We want to open up the king? It's totally speculative move, h6. Flirting with disaster. Now he has knight e6. Queen takes e5, f6. Oh, he just pops back there. Okay. That's cool. Bob's just flat out insulting the guy now. I don't know. I can't make any judgments on someone I don't know. But I know you can be hard to handle, Bob. You've pushed me to the edge before. You've been this close to get... I've timed you out. I had to time him out sometimes. I wouldn't ban him from the stream, though. The key is knowing, how often to time Bob out. Look at Arsenal, how tricky he is, how cagey he is. He doesn't want to give up. Running out of squares for the rook. A8. No. Now there's like no way to get rid of him. Please don't mate me. This was harsh, this game. Not easy. Yeah, I don't think he's going to be able to defend the back rank here, is he? Actually, there's no way. Alright, guys. As I said, a short stream today. Only 45 minutes to go. I'm going to take this challenge from our subscriber, Artie Fufkin. Weiss Monsters challenged me to Rated again. I don't play Rated. People tend to troll me if I do that. I'm going to play Artie Fufkin. If Weiss Monsters wants to re-challenge, he's 5th on the list. I meant to look that up, though. Arsenal can look it up. Is Bishop e6 the normal move there? Because I kind of like Rook b8. Like Antich played against me. What am I supposed to play versus a4 there? Well, I mean, it's the previous move that I'm concerned about, Arsenal fan, because like the bishop on c8 guards a6. I mean, a4 is the whole like kind of main feature of White's entire variation in those lines. Oftentimes, usually in that instance, like you have to like take on a4 a lot of the time. For example, it's the most common reaction in that sort of structure, to like take on a4 and play a5 or something like that. But yeah, have a look in just the opening explorer. I mean, is enough to find out quickly, you know, what the main line is there. This is our second one. We had against Asserby, he played a very strange move, bishop b4, but that's not really a variation. Here we typically see queen c7, d6, knight f6, or a6. One of the things that makes the Sveshnikov tricky is, Arsenal, how many different variations there are and how similar they are to each other. Little differences. And there was a good book 15 years ago by Yuri Yakovich. Here's a very strange move. So, I mean, it's tempting to play like bishop to b5, I guess. I'm not really sure what the right move is. I'm just guessing. Then do we try to win a pawn? If bishop d7, take, knight takes d5, can you do that? Does that work? Is that too greedy? Yuri Yakovich sounds like, well, Weird Al Yakovich is the real name, and Yuri's just made up. Yuri beat me in a knight endgame once. Knight in 4 against knight in 3 or some kind of thing. It was very drawn out, like an 80 move game. Arsenal, I think you had some practical chances, but objectively, yeah, that's the kind of position I could make a one move blunder and lose. So it's a good idea not to resign in a fast game, but I doubt you ever had quite enough compensation. This appears to be just an overt blunder. Queen b6, leaving d5, absolutely unprotected. From the frying pan into the fire. Isn't that Alexei Shirov's book? Oh. That's his next book. All right. What's the worst loss you've ever experienced and why? Well, there was a time I lost in like 8 moves when I dropped a piece against FIDE Master Alex Cherniak. Everybody must have thought I was on drugs or something. I just like left a knight unprotected in the opening. So that's on paper my worst loss. There was a time that I lost Huang Trong, women. She was a men's IM, women's grandmaster at the time. So she became a men's GM. But once I was like up a rook against her, essentially, and I was becoming irate that she wouldn't resign, and I basically lost. You know, there were still queens on the board, and it was weird. I freaked out after the game. That game upset me very deeply. I was having a difficult time emotionally. Knight takes d5. Your +6 versus NM I hated. He was despised in the community and I lost and blundered. Yeah, I mean, that's the problem when you let your emotions get a hold of you. That's why I lost Huang Chang up a rook. Um, when I beat Alexander Onishuk, my biggest win ever, I was up a rook against him too, but I got so nervous and time pressure that I like literally dropped a rook. Like, you're up a rook and you drop a rook in a long game. Can you imagine? And I remember, like, after dropping the rook back, I was a pawn up. It's like ridiculous. Artie Fufkin literally like lost all of his pieces. This was not a good experiment for black. So yeah, try not to let your emotions get the better of you. Easier said than done. But sometimes you can mess with people, you know. I often used like the St. George defense to get under people's skin, particularly against some opponents. If you play like a offbeat opening, they take it as an insult, and then they start to play badly because they think that you're dissing them. Oh, I can't believe you could play like 1a6 against me, you know, and then they play badly. Can use psychology. Maybe time to resign here. Maybe, maybe not. It's definitely not good. I believe in development. Okay, I'm up all sorts of pieces. Percy Hepworth Dim, Bob, thank you guys for supporting the stream with donations today. Thanks everybody for subscribing. We had to move the stream to, usually we're doing mornings, okay? We're doing the mornings here on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, so this is a little out of the ordinary. Look, I'm just going to be practical. As I said, there's no brilliancy prizes for anything, you know. You win or you lose or you get a draw. There's no special prize for winning brilliantly. I just want to end the game without any chance of losing. So I'm just going to like take this upper rook position to the bank. Yeah, black should just give up here. 2 pawns down a rook. I'm just telling a story about a game that I lost up a rook, though. So it is kind of a weird moment to start telling people when to resign. But anyways, having the queens on the board makes a big difference. I think, you know. That was the danger with Huang Trong. That the queens were still on the board. There were checks. Your king is never completely safe with the queens on the board. So again, tomorrow night, guys, Blitz viewer tournament with the Microponda hosting. Let's go to who's next. Okay, got a 7-0 challenge from Phil Brownie. I don't know if I'm going to get to that, but in any case, please challenge me to an increment. I would suggest 5+3 because we're getting near the end of the stream here. Ilrock challenged me to 5+2. I'll let it slide. 5+3 through 7+3 is my normal stream time. I'm wrapping up early tonight. Yes, we have to record a video. I got a little behind schedule because I had to travel unexpectedly last week. We're all messed up. Coming over here a week early, so I have to make up a chess video recording. So we're cutting it. This is not my normal stream time. You know, I normally do the mornings. But I didn't want to leave you guys a day without a stream. It's a video on chess.com. What? The Ukrainian GM who discusses the position where he had 7 pawns versus a rook and bishop? On where.com? Alright, Marty Moose is up. I shouldn't even play Marty Moose? No, he has enough games. Okay. I don't play people who have like less than 100 games normally. Knight d7 was the move. Bishop e6 is a blunder. Knight d7, no. You're being dyslexic again. Knight e7. Lako. But Arsenal fan, I think rook b8 is a move too. So we've got the same-ish variation of the Nimzo. Zamish. Marty Moose. Hello. Our Panda mascot is not here with us. This is a substitute. Hello, I'm a Pokemon Panda. I'm not weird, I just have this thing with stuffed animals. I was watching a TV show where this guy collected mannequins. That's even stranger. Stuffed animals aren't that scary, but collecting mannequins? Yeah. Female mannequins. Okay. C5, knight f3 now. Like, typically they'll play f3 and play a combination f3 Nimzo. Knight f3, slightly different feel to it. He doesn't get any grip on e4. I guess we could transpose to a Hubner variation in some lines. So like d6. Let's try this, just a kind of blockade strategy. It's not normally my plan. So rook b8 and castles are other mainline alternatives. Well, castles you don't commit yourself, Arsenal. And because that's fine. Silence of the Lambs reference there, Bob. Oh, maybe this isn't so bad for him? You know, I didn't take this seriously, but trading queens here... I mean, this structure is really not going anywhere. But he has the bishop. It can come out outside the pawn chain. I didn't take this seriously. I'm sure that black is okay. But I'm not sure if this is my best line. I didn't realize the purpose of rook b8 was to take on a4. Play rook takes b2. Yeah, rook b2 basically, rook b8 basically, yeah, it like discourages. It discourages the a4 type of idea. Exactly. So... my king is not going to be happy on this open file here. Structurally, we've got very good chances of winning. These are very weak pawns long term. Okay, Percy Hepworth talking about the Catalan. Yeah, I mean these double pawns are typical in the Catalan. We also have bishop on g2. That's like, there he goes. Uh-oh, look at that. He just found that, but it's too late here. I can counter with b6. We're just going to preempt him. You know, before this diagonal even has a chance to be a factor. This is no Catalan. Irish pawns, triple pawns. That's what they call it. I don't know how that got its name. They're not going anywhere, so you don't have to be in a rush to attack these pawns. I think that's one thing that a lot of people do. You know, like they might rush to play like knight c6, knight a5 before developing the rest of their pieces, for example. And I think it's important to keep it in perspective, you know, that these are static weaknesses that are unlikely to become, you know, anything but weaknesses in the future. So they're not easy to undouble. So I don't have to be in a rush to try to win one of those pawns. My knight doesn't do well on d7 here. So my plan is to play bishop e4 and then play knight behind it. Bishop e4, knight behind it, and then knight can go out to a5. And we're fast enough in terms of playing something like rook d8 to guard the d file. So his bishop isn't great. It's worth a knight. Okay. It's worth a knight, basically. It's not worth more than a knight. And we also traded off his bishop pair. And I think when you have an opponent who has the bishops. We also saw this in the first game when I played Bob. Kept the position closed when I'm facing the bishop pair. Same thing here. So Tony Miles coined the Irish pawns. That's interesting. A favorite player of mine. Creative guy, and I had the pleasure and the honor of facing him a number of games. Not over the board, but online. And I did beat him once in a rapid game. Banter rapid game. He beat me a couple times, maybe 2 or 3, and we had a couple draws. Probably played like 6 times. Something like 3 wins for Miles, 1 win for me, a couple draws. But I just remember the really strong impression I got playing against him was his endgame, his endgame skill was very, very, very strong. He was, you think I'm good at endgames or have a good feel. He was like awesome, So that pawn is looking ill right about now. I think it's time to think about going for it. There's also knight a5 though. I'm not really sure which is better. He did play in U.S. Championship. He never insulted anyone. I don't know if Tony ever insulted anyone or not, but I didn't know him that well personally. I met him offhand once and just really admired his play. Did seem to have a good sense of humor, though. Soltico, good to see you. Take care, man. I hope you're feeling better. I didn't even know Soltico was here. I hope I didn't diss him before. He just stopped in for a moment, and now he's gone. Alright, so now I think we can just pile up. Really nothing he can do. If you want to punish a player who has a static disadvantage, I think knight endgames are a really good place to be. Because there's no going back and forth with a knight trying to defend the static weakness. You basically, Zugzwang becomes a very big weapon. Just like in king and pawn endgames. Marty Moose is going to lose his c4 pawn. I can guarantee you that. That was really weird. I guess it was my other phone. I was like, hey, that's funny that my phone can do stuff while it's turned off. Alright. That's the problem with having 2 or 3 phones. You never know which one is making the strange noises. King and pawn endgame. Oh, this is ugly for white. He should have gone the other way. Back here, probably. Then I wouldn't have this tactic, rook takes d2, knight takes c4 check. His intention was to go here. But I have rook takes d2, rook takes d2, knight takes c4 check. There's a funny variation, guys, by the way. If he plays king e3, rook takes d2, rook takes d2, rook takes d2, king takes d2, knight b3 check, king c2, knight takes a1, king b2. And I'm not sure I'm winning this king and pawn endgame. Even with his king on a1. I would have no way in. I think he's probably okay there. You could think, oh, I've got a great position, but actually his isolated pawns control squares, and that would be a massive blunder. Kind of funny line. Okay, obviously, king e3, I have knight takes c4, all sorts of wins. So, what happened? An honorary Brit, you bloody... Who said that? What? They're starting. Starting trouble. Bob is not a troll. He's just here to make everyone else look good. Then he takes c4 check. Alright. We've got time for at least one more game. Rob Bartham is up next. So guys, don't forget, tomorrow night we're on to the next stream. I love doing the arena tournament hosting on Tuesdays. That's our stream tomorrow. 5+2 Blitz, hosting an arena tournament here. Thanks again for supporting the stream, Dim, Percy Epworth. You guys can also support the stream by making a PayPal donation. Haven't had any in a while, but you're welcome to do that. Don't forget. This is a worldwide characteristic, not only British. What's that? So the French defense. Oh man, French is tough. I've been playing the Tarash lately, but results haven't been all that great with it. Rob Bartham. I have a loss against him, I forgot. I don't remember, was it in the simul? It was 7+2. Wow, was it rapid? I don't remember the consequences. I don't remember the conditions of that loss now. I block things out. It's a matter of block out my losses. Same time, 4:30 p.m. EDT. That's my usual afternoon time. I try to do Monday, Wednesday, and Friday earlier, like at 12, so that we can get a European friendly time going on. But we have to play it day to day. Queen c7 is quite a rare move. He's setting up something along the c file, it appears. So I would guess Queen c7 is kind of a good move because he can also argue he has pressure here. Like an f6 might actually be an accelerated. It's an interesting move, Queen c7. But I guess he doesn't really have a c-file threat per se. So we should just go about our business. I mean, if take knight b4, we play bishop b1, and he can't really strengthen his threats. There's an argument for some moves here, like knight f4. Yesterday I failed to play knight f4. An interesting position. Against, actually, Merle Dixon, who's not here today. Apparently, Merle omitted the move CD in a line where his queen was on b6. And I had to play knight f4, but I wasn't familiar enough with the theory. No Europeans, Americans, and dogs. What? Okay, now I think we just have strong threats. Queen h5 check. Goodness. I mean, that's one of those weird lines like one of my teammates had last year. This guy, he had a crazy game. Queen h5 check, queen f7, bishop g6, h takes g. And maybe black has some compensation for the exchange there. This just doesn't feel right to me. I mean, I don't want to win the exchange like that, though. That looks so not correct. Let's just develop another piece. All right. Rob Bartham, this guy's pretty fast. Don't remember how he beat me, but it's a convincing victory. I mean, an 1800 takedown a 2400 blitz player. We really out of winning tactics now. I mean, e6 is a super weakness. just don't think he can withstand this. White's pieces are too active. Takes e5 instead of bishop d7 was Arsenal fan's suggestion. Well, I mean, if takes e5, what was I thinking? Yeah, actually, he miscalculated that. I agree. He has to take an e5, fix a pawn on e5. Then I don't have the... I think I had a hallucination there. I don't know which way I would recapture with the knight or the pawn, but absolutely better, of course. Now he's got serious problems. I don't think he can realistically defend the e6 pawn long term. Playing a little too quick. Okay, guys, like one more game after this, I believe we'll have time for. Igrok. No, that was Dreyev's name. I beat Igrok in a blitz game one time. Igrok, it's like something like gambler. What is it? Nefedov's still here? How do you translate Igrok in Russian? He's defending his pawn again. You're not allowed to do that. I told you already. Knight takes e6. Darn it. You could just build up even more. It's reminding me a little of playing Merle Dixon. Why is it so hard to win with the white pieces in the Tarash? Michael Adams makes it seem easy. I have a hard time even when they play bad looking moves. Wow. I'm not sure I can even take that pawn. So now my queen is lined up. Man. I'm going with something totally off base here. I was afraid of knight takes e6, rook e8. And then bishop f5, knight d8. I'm sure there's a way that I can work that out, but let's try something different. I don't know about this. I've given him all kinds of chances. Again, he's got some sort of tricky defense no matter what I do. He's 18-12. He's going to beat me again. 1700 in bullet. I don't remember the first game I lost, but I must never lose in blitz. In simuls, I do. It's another really tricky move. Bishop f4, maybe? This was not my original plan. I was planning on playing f4. Very safe move. But he'll never be safe on this diagonal. But it is kind of a precarious situation for white. Okay, everything's protected. That is good. You know, these pieces are literally protected. It's a good habit to get into to make sure no pieces are going to drop off. He can't really castle, well, I mean, excuse me, play king b8. It's like castling in my mind. Get his king away from the center, essentially. So I think we probably are winning, theoretically. I guess I also have the threat of something weird like knight f7. Knight takes c6. Different discoveries on his queen. Now there's like a check. Alright. Now he has another tricky move like knight e6. Knight e6, knight f7. Just keeps getting weirder and weirder. I think he finally lost a piece, though. I had queen g4 check. That was also strong. Totally overlooked it. He might have knight e6 or something, but it's gonna, yeah, he's gonna be lost. I think rook c1 was a good move. Oh, bishop c6, queen g4 check, you're saying. Bishop c6, queen g4 check. He still has queen e6 there. I think he is losing ultimately. Now he's down to his last tricks. Alright guys, time for one more game. Literally down to his last tricks. Just don't. Just don't. Knight f4 is safe. Safety first. I don't want to give him the two rooks and have him play bishop e5 and have something Arsenal fan like. Caginess. Oh no, we almost had a mate there with the... I'm gonna just take this. We are up a rook now. That's good. His king was never entirely safe. Queen c7, interesting move in the opening, though. I'll have to look that up. I'm just trying to be careful here. I know I can play queen takes a7. Always make Luft. Okay, guys, last game. Let's just take a quick look. I want to see if that move is theory. You know, queen c7. Interesting idea. This guy, Josef Friedman, played it. I lost to that guy, sadly. Alright. It was last game, Ilrock. Last game for today, guys. We'll be back tomorrow night with Rapid Viewer Tournament 5+2 Blitz. Casual. Thanks, everybody, for joining me today for our unusual afternoon Monday stream. Actually, unusual is our weird opening stream on Wednesdays. Do I know Aviv Friedman? Of course. I grew up in New Jersey. He's a good guy. Alright, knight b5, d6. But he's a much stronger player than that guy, Josef Friedman, who I lost to. A little stronger. When I was learning, when I was like coming up, Aviv was like a senior master. He was like 2400 US. Solid FIDE, a strong FIDE master, I would say. Okay, knight b5, legit FIDE master. I think I beat Aviv the one time we played. He played like the Czech Benoni or something. Acerbate. Knight b5, d6. What are we doing? It's the Kalashnikov. I was talking about this before. So, I don't know what to do, guys. I don't know what to do. I really should play c4 because that's the move I played mostly. Oh, he's from Teaneck where I have lots of family. I hope he's still doing well. I mean, he's definitely not a kid. I mean, I'm old and he's older than me, so hope he's still doing well. All right. What are we doing here? We're going to transpose to the Solansi variation of the Sveshnikov. This is a very rare line of to be played against the Sveshnikov. Judith Polgar played it. That's some sort of Hungarian origin because the Polgars played it and And my friend Emil was like playing it, and he worked with Bela Pereni, who liked to play bishop e3 against the Najdorf. But I don't know the theory here. It's a kind of offbeat line. Not really sure what the point of this is. We have knight c4 now, I guess. Though this feels a little slow. Hungarian guy is still here. What Hungarian guy? You mean me? I've been living in Hungary for like 14 years, but I had to come back to be in the United States for a while now. But I'm talking about old school Hungarian, late 80s theory here. Oh, Superman is Hungarian. So I'm usually in Budapest, but I'm temporarily back in the United States. But so this move bishop e3, it's really probably a Bela Pereni system. Some original ideas. Not really a typical way of playing against the Sveshnikov, I would say. Of course, in those days, in the late 80s, when Pereni was playing these type of moves, the Sveshnikov was really in its infancy, you know. And in fact, András Dorian, of course, the Hungarian grandmaster, wrote a book on the Sveshnikov, which I had when I was a kid. And it was so daunting that I gave up playing the Sveshnikov, because Dorian's book was like organized by Dewey Decimal Point system. Like the chapters were like chapter 3.23567, chapter 3.58943. You know, I was like, dude, this is crazy. That's too much for me. I was like 1500, and there's these crazy chapters based on these crazy numbers. And I was just learning. I wasn't even 1500. I was probably like 1300, trying to learn how to play the Sveshnikov. But that's when the Sveshnikov really grew as a defense. Dorian did a lot of work on it in the late 80s. And the mid to late 80s was when it really became like a mainline weapon for black in the Sicilian. Now this started as a Kalashnikov. It's not the same, but I think we have a transposition. I've been 1500. Yeah, the knight e3, knight d5 idea, maybe. But you can't do that with the bishop on e3, obviously. Last game for today, guys. Szabolcs, Samar, Bereg County. Szabolcs County. I'm not sure. I only really know Pest County. I've been around parts of Hungary, but I don't know the county geography that well. Satmar. So knight on bd5. Well, we just have an advantage, I think, here. This is a standard idea. I'm not afraid to take with the pawn in this position, you know. Kind of a classic idea. I'm going to play a4 and take with the pawn, to the horror of all the spectators. It's actually, well, Botvinnik is a great player, the world champion. Misha Botvinnik, of course, a great player who's a great example of the importance of understanding, like, when having double isolated pawns can be a good thing. But in this particular variation of the Sveshnikov, it's not unusual, or a Kalashnikov. There are positions where you want to get this pawn on e3 to control the d4 square and stuff like that. This is not an unfounded. What a dramatic move, knight f6 from Ilrock here. I just don't think his king is particularly safe, but maybe not so easy. You know, this is crazy. So, wow. My pieces just aren't that. They're just not that threatening yet. Knight takes f6. I guess I should take it, but I didn't see a strong follow-up. Probably it's a mistake not to take it, though. Alright, I should have taken it, I guess. I should have taken on f6. It's a mistake not to take it. Yeah, I agree. Alright. I should have taken it. This was a bad move, playing king h1. Bob's like, king h1 question. Yes. Well, I mean, the bottom line was I didn't see anything special here. Like, I take, he takes, and he's going to play king h8 and rook g8. And the fact of the matter is, Bob, I don't have anything that great. Sadly, there was no very strong follow-up to knight takes f6 check or something like that. And it's actually very typical to get that structure on the black side of this opening. Double g-pawns is not the end of the world. Also, never played this guy. I have no idea. Oh, it's the same guy from last game. It's Rob Bartum. They're the same rating from the same country. Sometimes I'm paranoid. People are like, have multiple accounts or something. Yeah, I have nothing here. I don't think the white even has an advantage. I misplayed this. Let's play a5. I don't know who's better here. I have a little bit of space, but his knights are good, and my bishop is really not very good. Okay, it has some squares. But I don't know. It may be easier to play black in this position. You don't think bishop takes d5 is a good move? I thought it was kind of forced, Arsenal, to be honest with you. You know, he gets rid of that weakness on the d5 square. I don't like this move, particularly for black, though. That seems like he's just weakening his pawn. Giving my queen a great square. I think e4 is a mistake. It also puts his pawn on the wrong color, where it's like a liability. I think this was a questionable decision by black. Play e4. Now I could even sack an exchange. We're looking at rook takes f6, winning by force now. I think it's just winning. Rook takes, knight takes e4. I mean, does this just trade a lot of stuff? Or is it winning? I mean, I'm destroying his king safety and getting my material back with interest. Guys, last game for today. I've got to end the stream here. We'll be back tomorrow at 4:30 p.m. EDT with a viewer 5+2 Blitz Casual Arena. Sparkle Horse Arena. Did he just have knight f5? Oh my god. I think he has this move, no? And he missed it? I think I might have missed knight f5. I'm getting a little groggy. Rather than just taking the material, we'll play for more. Oh, this looks good. Mating net. Oh. Nice. We were lucky though. I think he had knight f5 there. What's going on here? I hallucinated that he couldn't play that. Terrible. He's totally in the game after knight f5. Oh man. So maybe I shouldn't even sack the exchange. Still, the engine still thinks it was the best move. Ah, but I don't play knight tc4. So the point is, I should play a preparatory move here with rook f1, but not easy to find that. at all because it looks like he has like f5. So that's kind of deep. You need a lot of time to work this out over the board for white to find this, how strong this is. White is strong. Strong exchange sacrifice for white. Thank you guys for joining me. We will see you tomorrow night with the Blitz and Rapid, with the Blitz Arena 5+2 casual Sparkle Horse Arena tomorrow night, 4:30 p.m. EDT. Again, thanks everybody for joining me and supporting the stream. Please subscribe to the stream. And I want to thank you who already have. Again, tomorrow night, same time, same station. I will see you guys later. Bye-bye. 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 Later, guys.